CCP's General Secretary recently admitted in a political gathering that China's economic recovery is still at a critical stage. According to the Financial Times, Xinhua's report on December 8th cited Xi, adding that China's development situation is complex. Monopolizing power in China since 1949, CCP leaders often only talk about good things to polish their faces and their party's leadership abilities, thereby maintaining power for themselves and their party. Xi's rare admission of difficulties partly shows the dire situation of the Chinese economy after 3 years of CCP applying a zero-COVID policy based on lockdown, along with other policies considered to hinder development. Official statistics are showing contradictions, more or less confusing, observing the true state of the Chinese economy at present. For example, some statistics show that China's dollar-denominated exports turned slightly positive in November after a long period of stagnation. Meanwhile, statistics show that China's manufacturing activity was weakening. In addition, the Chinese regime has long been criticized for its practices of strictly censoring information, hiding the truth, and falsifying statistics. These make it very difficult for the outside world to know what is happening in China. However, there are 3 phenomena that the Chinese regime has been unable to hide and are reflecting the current dire state of the Chinese economy. The first phenomenon is that rich Chinese people are fleeing the country because they are no longer confident in the short-term recovery of the Chinese economy and the policies of the CCP. This has been happening on a large scale. Beijing has been unable to stop it from happening, nor prevent insiders from talking about it, so the world knows it quite well. The second one is that many companies in China have announced plans to take a long Lunar New Year holiday because there are no orders. This also leaves the Chinese regime with no way to prevent a large number of workers at the companies from leaking information to the media. The third one is a series of stores closing due to sluggish business, showing the difficulty of the economy. This phenomenon is happening on a large scale. Many insiders can leak, and many people know about this incident, which also forces. The Chinese regime has to stand by and watch the information about this phenomenon flood the media. The rich fled from China. The CCP used the concept of common prosperity to promote so-called equitable wealth redistribution. Some Chinese observers believe that the CCP is in fact seeking to confiscate the assets of wealthy individuals and that adopting this strategy is to compensate for the empty treasury while China's economy is in crisis. China expert Mike Sun told the Epoch Times that he does not trust the leadership of the CCP and neither do the Chinese people, which is why the people just want to leave China. On November 28 and 29, CCP's General Secretary visited Shanghai, China's financial center. Chinese state media reported that the purpose of Xi's visit was to urge the financial sector to better serve the national economy. Commenting on Xi's official trip, Sun said that in fact, China's A-shares are falling, especially financial stocks. Therefore, no matter how CCP's leaders try to reassure the market, it is ineffective. This means that China's overall economic situation is quite dire. Sun said that currently only the CCP is undertaking major investment projects. It is spending on big infrastructure projects. Meanwhile, private enterprises do not do that because they no longer have faith in CCP policies and the vitality of the Chinese economy. They are looking to redirect investment abroad instead of domestically. Sun added that many of his friends with large assets in China now want to leave. However, one of the major challenges they face is not being able to take their money out of the country. Beijing strictly controls foreign currency reserves. One of the measures they use is to limit Chinese people from bringing USD abroad. According to regulations, Chinese people are only allowed to bring a maximum of 50,000 USD each year when leaving the mainland. To cope with this control, according to Bloomberg, many rich Chinese have turned to the shadow banking system to ask them to secretly transfer more money abroad. On November 28th, the New York Times reported that rich people in China have in many ways transferred hundreds of billions of dollars out of the country this year to invest in gold bars and real estate in foreign markets. Jay Zhao, the CEO of Tokyo-based online real estate agency GA Technologies, said that the Chinese have become the primary buyers for apartments in the Japanese capital priced at $3 million or more, and they bring with them suitcases full of cash for payment. Sun said the Chinese regime has recognized the problem and is targeting China's shadow banking system to prevent foreign currency outflows. He said Macau used to be a center for the shadow banking system, but now this route to transport foreign currency abroad has been blocked by Chinese authorities. Sun said that a few of his friends shared about how to transfer money abroad. Accordingly, cash is transported from the mainland by speedboats to Macau or some countries in Southeast Asia. The money is then transferred to other countries through legal means. Rich people in China can also choose another money transfer method that is not subject to CCP supervision. That is through import and export companies. People want to transfer money to buy products from an import-export company at a very high price. The company then cooperates with international partners to transfer money abroad through the company's account. Finally, they return a portion of the money to the customer after retaining a portion equal to the actual selling price of the product that the two parties had implicitly agreed upon. The Chinese have also used a less complicated method of directly taking yuan out of the country and exchanging it for dollars in other countries or the United States, although this method has many potential risks. Meng Jun, a Chinese businessman currently living in exile in the United States, told the Epoch Times that some luxury real estate transactions in Southern California have been conducted using Chinese currency. Nikkei Asia reported that data from China's State Administration of Foreign Exchange, SAFE, in September showed net capital outflows from the mainland of $53.9 billion, the largest since January 2016. In August, China's capital account saw capital outflows worth $49 billion, the largest figure since December 2015. Capital outflows also caused China's yuan exchange rate to fall to its lowest level in 16 years. Meng said the Chinese regime's treasury is now running out of money, so it is trying to seize the assets of China's wealthy. He added that actually, it has been doing this for a while, but quite discreetly, but now it is doing it openly and blatantly by threatening tax audits and capital controls. The New York Times reported in October that according to a factory owner in Shanghai, CCP officials allegedly used bank records to target individuals with liquid assets of at least 30 million yuan, about $4 million or more, requiring them to hand over 20% of their assets or endure a full tax audit. Meng said that therefore the rich were forced to rush to sell their assets and transfer money abroad by any means. Many people will even move abroad to live completely to ensure their life safety, because if they wait any longer, they may not even be allowed to leave China. A long Lunar New Year and restaurants closed en masse. The tragic situation of the Chinese economy is also reflected in the fact that since August, the Chinese regime stopped publishing youth unemployment data after the figure rose to a record high since it began collecting the type of data in 2019. The skyrocketing unemployment rate is partly reflected in the fact that in the region with the most industrial zones in the country, such as Guangdong, many companies have a lack of orders, leading to production stagnation. They were forced to give workers a long Lunar New Year break. Daji Yuan reported that after an aluminum company in Foshan, Guangdong announced a 6-month Lunar New Year holiday due to no orders. Several other companies in Guangdong also announced the same. Lunar New Year holiday of workers in these companies lasts from 27 days to 3 months. Recently, Canyon 88, a website specializing in food services in China, surveyed many commercial areas and neighborhoods in Guangzhou, Guangdong Province. At the same time, Canyon 88 also interviewed people working in street restaurants in other places such as Beijing, Chengdu, Shenzhen, and Shanghai. A consumer in Guangzhou said that she was truly shocked by the speed with which street restaurants in Jiangnangxi closed. She said that on Monday, she ate at a noodle shop, But when she passed by on Saturday, she saw that it was already closed. Jiangnangxi, where this person often comes, is one of the famous commercial areas in Guangzhou. There are many large commercial complexes around, and the bustle here is famous everywhere. The consumers said that a few days ago, she passed by and saw a vermicelli noodle shop that closed in August and was still empty, so after nearly 4 months, this shop has no one taking over. Walking along a 2-kilometer-long food street in Jiangnangxi, which used to be bustling, now more than 10 restaurants have had to close. Most of the closing restaurants are single ones, but a few are chain ones. There are restaurants located next to each other that are all closed at the same time. On Tianhe-Nanyi Road, known as Guangzhou's Tea Street, the shops had to close because the slowdown in business became even more severe. On the day Canyon 88's people visited, 6 tea shops in the area were closed, and a few others had signed up to transfer the shop to someone else. According to Da Jiyuan's sources, the difficult culinary business is not limited to Guangzhou. In other bustling places in Shenzhen, Beijing, Chengdu, Guizhou, Changsha, and so on, the situation is also similarly very tragic. The owner of a fast food restaurant in Fujian that closed in November said he opened this store in April. His store has an area of more than 50 square meters and a monthly rent of 7,000 yuan. Daily revenue is only 600 to 700 yuan. In half a year, he lost nearly 200,000 yuan. In the end, he was forced to close and sold all the equipment in the store and only recovered about 5,000 yuan. Data from Chinese business search site QCC shows that the number of newly registered restaurants across China from January to October this year was 3.5 million, 374,000 more than the same period last year. However, the total number of stores canceling business was 1 million, much higher than the number of 538,000 in the same period last year. Da Jiyuan cited many Chinese people in the culinary service, saying that doing business in China this year is more difficult than in previous years. On the one hand, consumption is decreasing and passenger traffic is decreasing. On the other hand, a large number of unemployed people poured into this industry, causing greater competitive pressure.